Hello everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you how to do several different types of filler. And filler is basically the repetitive design that goes inside of the shapes that you might do in a henna design. I've gone ahead and pre-applied some squares here that I'm going to go ahead and fill in, but your shape doesn't necessarily have to be a square. It can be a circle, it can be a paisley, it can be a heart, it can be a rectangle, it can be pretty much any shape that you want it to be. So just imagine that you've got a henna design here and you've got some open space and you're going to go ahead and fill it in. And filler is really great because you don't have to really come up with anything creative. You just kind of do the same repetitive thing over and over again. And it looks pretty impressive when you do it. It helps to fill in a large amount of space, which is kind of why we call it filler. So one that you'll see a lot of people do is this one, which is just a swirl, and then these little gingerbread loop-de-doos. The one thing you want to do is to keep the this part, you want to keep that consistent. So you don't want to do any of them wider than others, or you don't want to do any of them substantially longer. You want to try to keep that consistent. Because it's filler, you just want to do the same repetitive thing over and over and over again. You don't want to make it look any different than the others. So it's pretty easy. And you'll see this one quite often. Okay. This is one that I like to do quite a bit because I don't really have to think about it. It just kind of flows out of the cone. The swirl, and then you draw a line over the top of the swirl, and then we're going to come in with some gingerbread, and because it's kind of a tight fit, we're just going to try to make it simulate that they're all the same size there. So that one's pretty easy. I'm going to move on to one that's just a little bit more detailed. So please follow along with me. So I've got one here. We're going to start with that basic swirl again, but we're just going to make it a little bit smaller than we did in the previous square. We're going to go over it with a line like we did previously. We're going to do some gingerbread or some loop-de-doos or some U's or whatever you want to call them. You will hear me use the term gingerbread quite often when I am referring to these. And then we're going to do more gingerbread, but we're just going to do them a little bit wider and larger. Okay? And then you can go ahead and put some dots in between these guys. And then go over them like that. This looks really impressive for bridal. We'll go ahead and do it again, though we may not be able to fit a whole nother full filler of this design in here. In fact, I don't think we will be able to, but if that were a much bigger space, we would have more space for that. Just go ahead and put a little dot in there and try to make it work. And then let's move this here so you can see another square there. Let's do another one without a swirl. Let's do something a little bit different. So let's do just an open circle. I like to start in the middle. You don't have to, or I'm sorry, I like to start in the corner of a design. You don't have to. You can start in the middle or pretty much anywhere you want to do filler. But I think for the sake of keeping it consistent and making it easy, I like to start in one area and just kind of move my way out. I like to start in the tiniest area and just kind of venture out there. So, and these kind of remind me of daisies. In fact, that's what I call them. Whether they really look like a daisy or not, I don't know. It's not important. It's just to kind of keep it consistent in my mind so I know what I'm doing. So it's just big flowers. Again, this is another simple one. Okay. You can do it over and over and over again. skin without even really thinking about it, because it just doesn't take much thought. Filler doesn't really take a whole lot of creativity, which is the great thing about it. And you can even mix types of filler as well, which I'll talk about or demonstrate in another video. Okay, so sort of like that. Very easy, very simple. And then another type of filler is checkerboard, which is really easy to do in a box. Sometimes a little bit easier or harder to do in other shapes, especially for beginners. But you want to make sure that your lines are spaced apart about the same distance. So I wouldn't start a line all the way over here because it would put a lot more space between these two. So I just want to make sure that I keep them about equal distance apart from each other. And a really easy way to get straight lines is to practice your draping. We'll talk about draping in another video. But draping basically is when your henna paste is really stringy, you're able to drape a really long line of henna paste without it even touching the skin, or in this instance the template, and you can just go ahead and lay that whole line down without actually drawing it out, which is just what you saw me do there, or attempt to do there. I was looking in the viewfinder at the camera, so I wasn't paying close attention. And then you're going to go the opposite direction, making kind of a grid over your henna. And you'll want to make these lines the same distance apart as well. So you just go ahead and drape those lines down, like so. This is kind of the fun part. I like doing checkerboard, because when it stains the skin after the fact, it looks absolutely gorgeous. And it's a really fun and easy filler to do. And then what you're going to go ahead and do is fill in every other box. So it's just like a checkerboard, which is why they call it checkerboard. So I'm going to go ahead and start by filling this one right here in the middle. And you'll want to just fill them in. It's very easy. And you'll want to go line by line. You don't want to skip all over the place. Just go line by line and fill them in. Which is what I'm doing here. That way you won't have two blacked out boxes next to each other or make any mistakes, which I have done. I don't know how I was able to do that, but I was able to do it. You know, sometimes we make mistakes along the way. We're human. It happens. We're not perfect checkerboard people every time, but we can try, and with practice and with technique, we learn. Right? Right. And you can either, if your cone tip is fine enough, you can just kind of push it down into the box and just kind of fill it with henna and move along. Or if you just want to put down a dot inside the box and just kind of squiggle around and fill it in, you can do that too. Just, you don't want to move the lines of the box too much, because then it'll just kind of cause it to be misshapen. Then it won't look like a checkerboard anyway. But that's pretty much what it looks like. It's really simple, very easy. And I'll go ahead and include pictures of these over on my blog. So if you'd like to take a look and then follow along with me in the video, you can do so. I hope this video on fillers has been helpful to you. I hope to do more videos on fillers in the upcoming future. Please take a look at my Henna for Beginners Henna 101 playlist. and you'll find all sorts of cool stuff there. Also, there is a Henna for Beginners section on my website at FreeHandMehndi.net. If you look up there in the navigation bar, it's there. If you have any questions or comments, or you have any specific requests for Henna for Beginner videos, please go ahead and put those down in the comment section here, or send me an email at info@freehandmehndi.net, and I will go ahead and put that your request on my video list. Thank you so much for watching. Please rate, comment, and most of all, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.